Welcome back to another edition of the Knight Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again is my co-host, Richie O'Leary. Rutgers has added its third commitment to the class of 2025
basketball
in Seattle-based shooting guard Kaden Powers. He is known as more of an offensive player, and that's kind of a trend that Steve Peichel has been picking up on, where he's getting offense first guys. Now we'll get into his commitment and where the connections are for Rutgers and more. But first, this podcast is presented to you by Knight and Day Apparel. Get ready for football and tailgating season with Knight and Day Apparel. Our apparel is designed to keep you comfortable and stylish from the pregame excitement to the final whistle. Whether you're grilling in the parking lot or cheering from the stands, our high-quality gear has you covered with unbeatable comfort and team spirit. Use our promo code RutgersRivals to get 10% off your purchase. Score big this season and keep chopping with Knight and Day Apparel.
I forgot about the retro looks. They got some pretty neat stuff on there. I love this old logo with the jersey and the old Knight.
Yeah.
Such a sick logo.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan as well.
Pretty cool stuff. Nothing new, though, I don't think. Not yet, at least.
Not yet, but...
Yeah, same old. We can get a Night Claw. See, that's a good one, right? Yeah, I came up with that idea.
I'm guessing it might be somebody who's on camera right now, and it's not me. This podcast is also presented to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during games. If you think you know your stuff, get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slots. Head to the website today and get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. All right, let's talk about Kaden Powers. How did Rutgers end up getting involved with a kid from Seattle, Washington?
A couple different ways. Number one, Coach Smoke, Marlon Williamson, has been on the EYBL circuit for, I think it was 10 plus years. So he knows just about everyone. When you run one of the more popular EYBL teams as well in the family, you get to know basically everyone on the circuit. They're all very close with one another. Other than that, they saw Kaden Powers back at Peach Jam this past July, saw him in person, and just really liked his game. I think in that game, I believe he dropped 23 or 22 or something like that, a couple 3 balls. So they offered him like almost on the spot. Very talented combo guard, really big outside shooter. But yeah, they kind of just he's also actually from a very well-known high school, a high school that's produced who was it? Brandon Roy, Doug Christie, Jamal Murray, I think it was. There's a whole list of Rainier Beach guys. And he also plays alongside some really talented kids. One of the more talented kids that he plays with is a 2029 kid who they just offered yesterday, 2 days ago. The other day, I don't even know what day it was, but they offered him the other day in JJ Crawford, who's Jamal Crawford's son. 2029 kid, mind you. That's just insane to say, but they weren't even the first high major offer for him, which is even crazier. That's how good he is. But probably their best player on the Rotary AAU team. But yeah, I mean, they just saw him at Peach Jam, got him to campus, and just kind of sealed the deal after that.
Yeah, this is a crazy list of alumni from the school. Terrence Williams, NBA player. Nate Robinson, NBA player. Kevin Porter Jr., now former NBA player. DeJounte Murray, CJ Giles, Jamal Crawford, Doug Christie, like you said. That's wild. Huge list.
You said DeJounte Murray. For some reason I was thinking Jamal Murray. Oh, well, whatever. You got the point.
Yep.
So
let's talk about his game. What does his game remind you of? Tell us some of his strengths that he possesses.
6'5", around like 180, 190-ish, true combo guard, probably a 2-man at the next level. Can really stretch the floor, very good outside shooter, quick release, solid release, very fluid, very consistent, which is huge for shooting guys. Can kind of create a little bit of space off the dribble, but not a ton, enough that he can get a shot off from that mid-range. He can attack the rim a little bit, but he's not. I wouldn't say it's his strength by any means. There's not many clips out there of him attacking the rim and drawing contact and being able to finish with that contact. So that's definitely a question mark. He's not super athletic, doesn't have a ton of wiggle with him, but he does have a good handle in general. Now, he's not going to cross someone up, but he's not going to lose the ball either. And it's interesting because like we said before, like Peichel keeps targeting these offensive first guys, and I know you can teach defense. I probably trust him to teach defense more than just about any coach in the country that's not Virginia's head coach, because I think he's pretty damn good. Shaka Smart's pretty good at defense, but he's one of the best defensive minded coaches in the country. I think he's solid. I just think he needs to work a little bit more on his game. I think he needs to be able to attack the rim a little more. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a solid 3-star get. I think he's definitely has high major potential. And with the scholarship count going up to 15 next year, you can take risks on guys like this. You can take risks on guys like Lino Mark, because you're going to be still heavy invested in the transfer portal, but you can also get freshmen that you can develop over time. You're on mute.
Yeah, they clearly want to refill the hopper in terms of developmental players, because it's kind of at a minimum right now with the way the roster is currently constructed. Tell us a little bit about his AAU team. He said he was on the EYBL circuit. Who are some other standouts on the Notary Rebels?
That is a good question. I know, obviously, JJ Crawford. I have to go back to his AAU roster real quick, but he was the leading scorer for most of their games. I had the stats pulled up yesterday, actually. He was averaging, I think, 14 in their AAU circuit this past summer. Where is it? Yeah. Averaged 13.7 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists, and 0.8 steals. Shot 38%, 32% from 3, and 85 from free throw. And that's over 40 free throws, too. So, I mean, that's always – you can't really complain there, especially with the past couple of Rutgers teams we've seen from the charity stripe. Not good, but yeah, then you go to the Peach Jam, and that's really where he started to light things up. 43% from 3, 43% from the field, 48% from 3 in the Peach Jam, and averaged 17 and 2 and 2. Like, those are great numbers. Now, mind you, his team went 1-7 in the Peach Jam, so they weren't great, but I'd say he's easily the most talented kid out there for the most part. 3-2 in the EYBL circuit, 3-12 in the EYBL circuits, 1-7 in the Peach Jam. So they're not winning these games by much. He did go up against like some really talented prospects. I know, obviously, Lino Mark was one of them he went up against. I think actually in that game, Lino only had like 4 points, whereas he had 18. Whereas Kaden Powers had 18. But yeah, I thought he's a really good offensive player. I think he can still refine his game a lot. There's still a lot to work with, but solid, just a solid shooter. Like you see right there in that clip, like he can kind of pull from just about anywhere from the mid range to the deep ball. He's unselfish. Now the athleticism's not there, and that's the little bit of the concern I have for him. But he's smart with the ball. Like he's not going to turn it over much. Because they also track turnovers for these games, and I forget what the number was, but it wasn't that high. Overall, just it seems like a solid get for Rutgers. Like I said, developmental piece more than anything, and 15 ships. Are they going to use all 15? I think Peichel's still going to save one probably every year for a walk-on, which is fine because what program's ever going to run with a 14-man rotation? None of them.
Probably not.
Like ever. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a solid get overall, but they did lose some guys this offseason. Like they had Miles Goodman for the Rotary team, and he was a top 80 prospect who's actually at Penn State now. There's another big man they had too that they lost this offseason. So they're kind of in a rebuilding phase, so to speak, for this year's Rotary Club. But still, a very talented high school, very talented EYBL team. I think he's a decent get.
Yeah, he looks like he's got some pretty fluid shooting motions, very repeatable action when he's pulling up. Looks like he's really comfortable kind of in the fadeaway game and getting to his different spots in the court. He's got obviously great size, so I like this pickup a lot. It's interesting how deeply they've been kind of trying to penetrate the West Coast, and I wonder if that's in part due to the Big Ten's footprint increasing. Like they've offered a lot of California kids. Obviously, he's a Washington kid.
Yeah.
Just expands their recruiting base. Basketball is always going to be a national recruiting sport for Rutgers, just because you're only going to land between 2 and 6 or 7 guys each year. So you're just kind of looking for the best fits in general. But I like this pickup a lot. How many slots are they? How many high schoolers are they looking to land in the class of 2025?
So they wanted Kelvin Odie, and depending on when you're listening to this, he probably already is going to commit or is going to end up at West Virginia more than likely. So he's out. Right now, the only other name on the board would be Chris Nwoli. He's a AAU teammate of Lino Mark out in California. Plays for Sierra Canyon High School. I think there's a pretty good shot they land him. He was on an official visit the weekend of the Washington game. Really loved the atmosphere. Really loved the coaching staff. They did a good job of selling him on the campus, selling him on being far away from home, yes, but also being a very good program that could develop you. I think he's a really solid get. He'd probably be their best get of the class. He's number 117 in the country. It's definitely not the class that people wanted, in the class that people wanted to follow up a top 2 class in the country, and I don't think that was ever realistic to maintain that that type of hype number. Like at the end of the day, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper had deep connections to Rutgers, whether it be Ace Bailey's connection between his agent, his family, and everything to Brandon Knight or Dylan Harper, obviously Ron Harper Jr. playing at Rutgers, blah, 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 New Jersey. That's not going to happen every year. If it happens once every 5 years, that's great. If it happens once every 10 years, it's still pretty good. But overall, this is always going to be a program that's going to develop guys. It's going to be, you're going to probably land like top 150-ish kids for the most part. And that's where Lino Mark is kind of ranked right now. He was 150. I think he dropped out, but he's still like 150 to 160-ish. Chris Nwoli's a 120 kid. I think you'll get lucky once in a while between some of the local kids that are ranked like in the 70s, 80s, even higher, maybe even the 50s. But I do think it's going to be pretty hard to do without significant NIL. Now, will they get that NIL? I think it's very dependent on if they'll get more NIL on this season. I think if they make a deep run this season, they'll get a lot more attention to the program. They'll get a lot more NIL driven towards it. We've seen people on our board say, hey, I went to a tailgate and I met up with this guy and he said he donated $2 million to football. That has nothing to do with Rutgers at all whatsoever. No connections to Rutgers. I'm an alumni, just likes football and is from the New York City area. So all it takes is a big run in that tournament, a deep run in that tournament, and lo and behold, you might have money every single year. And then I think 2026 is the class you're really going to want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, because for all that, most Rutgers fans that would be listening to the show, passionate, they've been with Rutgers through the thick and thin. There's a lot more front runner fans in New Jersey and in the surrounding tri-state area. So they're basically just waiting for Rutgers to take a rocket ship somewhere, and then they'll hop on, and then they'll hop off again. But if Rutgers wants to, kind of make an impact, they have to get people's attentions that are outside of our little insular bubble, and that is not easy. But something like a Sweet 16 run this year would certainly help wake people up in the area, and especially if they play their East Regional in Newark. Man, that would be one of the bigger sports events in New Jersey in a long time. So let's just, keep wish casting that into reality, because that would be such a massive impact on the program.
But I mean, put it like this too, like the portal doesn't open until after the season, and the portal is going to be part of this 2025 class no matter what.
Yep.
So I keep saying, look at that 2026 class, but I also want to say, like, just these are high school kids at the end of the day. Maybe you're not going to win top 5 high school kid. You're not going to win a top 25 high school kid, but you can get in that portal, and you're going to have this money this offseason if you play up to par. And that's when you're going to use it. You're going to use it for the portal. That's the way that recruiting works. Maybe some staffs don't like it. Some staffs hate it, I'm sure, but it's all portal recruiting now. And you have a solid little lineup for next year with some solid pieces. You need more offensive pieces, and that's where these 3 guys come in right away. Well, 2 guys out of the 3 are offensive-minded skill sets, but I still think they're going to hit the portal pretty hard. And I think if you make that run, the money's there. Could be a nice little portal haul.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything else regarding Kaden Powers that we didn't hit on, or basketball recruiting in general that we didn't hit on before we head out of here?
I'm trying to think. No, I mean, they hosted a bunch of dudes back in that Washington game. Darius Bivens is one to keep a close eye on. I think we mentioned him before on here.
Yep.
2026 kid, number 80-something in the country, maybe 90.
I think he's number 90.
Yeah. He's really high on Rutgers, and there you go already, 2026 class, like I mentioned. Darren Rippey Jr. is a New York kid that plays at Blair Academy, very high on Rutgers early on, has been to campus a couple times. Both of those guys are expected to be on campus for a game or two this fall. I expect almost every single game this fall to have several recruits at it. It's going to get to the point where there's just that behind that bench is going to be filled with recruits. It's going to be insane. It's going to be everyone wants to see this team, and that schedule comes out later, or it might have been out by now. I forget when it came out, but either way, it's going to be absolutely insane how many people attend these games. Like they're selling out everything. The bottom levels of the St. John's exhibition or charity game are sold out. That second level, I wouldn't be shocked if it sold out for $10 a piece. Why is it not selling out?
Yep.
All these games are just I'm so excited to see this atmosphere. I'm very eager to see how they do. And there's going to be moments where you're going to question this team. You're probably going to question the coaches. That's just how every season goes. I mean, hell, they're questioning football after one loss, but I do think it's going to be a crazy season, and just get ready. It's going to be fun too. They're going to be exciting. You're going to see SportsCenter top 10 highlights almost every night, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I agree. And we had talked about earlier this week about the giveaway we're going to do. We'll start up the commenting for that now. If you want to be a part of the giveaway,
See if I can find the giveaway
in the comments. So it's going to be, we're going to give 2 winners for this. The first winner can pick between the Ace Bailey High School jersey and the Dylan Harper High School jersey. And obviously these aren't like the game worn jersey that Ace had on.
Gross and sweaty.
Yeah, it's a replica that was made from an online seller. But if you want to be entered into this contest, 2 ways to do it. First way, you get 2 entries. If you submit a review to Apple Podcasts using the term.
We're struggling again.
We had talked about getting this squared away, but we don't have it squared away. Using the term Rutgers Madness.
There you go.
Let's go.
Let's see. Look at that.
There we go. Pressed into action. All right, so use the term Rutgers Madness in your review. You can get 2 entries there, or if you leave a comment below in any of these videos leading up to the giveaway, just for Rutgers Madness of some sort, you can get entered into the contest that way as well. But we'll be giving those away before the first game. So we're going to probably run this contest for about a month. So it's 2 ways to do it. Start entering now, and we will do the drawing before game 1 of the Rutgers basketball season, which is, I think, November 6th, which is a Wednesday.
Yes, I believe so. Let me see if I can pop up an image of just... it's a little blurry. It's a little blurry image, but you get the point. Like,
we'll show you guys when it comes in. Richie's about to get it sent to him. But those are the 2 prizes. Start entering now. We thank everybody who has already participated in these in the past. They've really helped the channel grow, and certainly have been fun to send you guys stuff for being loyal listeners. But for me and Richie, this has been another edition of the Knight Report podcast. Signing off.